City of Riverbank regular city council and local redevelopment authority board meetings are now in session. Today is Tuesday, September 24th, 2019. It is 6 p.m. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there anyone from the ministerial? Oh, there he is. Sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's bow our heads for a short word of prayer. Father, we thank you, Lord, for this beautiful day to be here at Riverbank, California. We're praying, Lord, that you'd give special wisdom to the mayor and the city council here to direct our city. And we're thankful, God, that we have this privilege of living in this wonderful town. But God, during this day that we're in, we're praying for special protection on our police department, on our fire department, even on the city council. Lord, we're praying for your special protection. And once again, Lord, your hand of guidance, that you would guide us in your holy ways and help each one of us, God, look to you for wisdom in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Roll call.
Council Authority Member District 1, Luis Uribe.
Here.
Council Authority Member District 2, Cindy Fossey.
Here.
Council Authority Member District 3, Cal Campbell.
Here.
Vice Mayor Chair Darlene Barber Martinez.
Here.
Mayor Chair Richard D. O'Brien.
Here. There'll be no changes to the agenda tonight. Any council or authority member or staff who has a direct conflict of interest on any scheduled agenda item to be considered is to declare their conflict at this time. Is there any conflict? Presentation item 1.1, update on McHenry Bridge project.
Hi, good evening, Mayor O'Brien and Riverbank City Council. Appreciate the opportunity to give you this presentation tonight. My name is Alex Chedley. I'm the Interim Deputy Director of Engineering for the San Joaquin County Department of Public Works. With me is Mr. David Mendoza, Engineering Services Manager in the Construction Engineering Division. And I'm here tonight to talk to you about the McHenry Avenue Corridor Improvement Project, which you may be aware of. Construction began on this project in 2017. And for those who are unfamiliar, I'm going to provide a brief background. So there's three main aspects of this project that I want to focus on tonight: what the project is, where we're at with construction, and what to expect as the project concludes. I know as well as you how vital this corridor is to our counties and cities. I've owned homes in both northern Stanislaus County and the city of Modesto. I've driven over this Stanislaus River Bridge many times, like the millions of others who have done so since 1959 when it was first constructed. And I know you understand how critical the bridge is when traffic incidents occur on Highway 99, how vital it is for commuters and for the movement of agricultural goods. This is a significant project. It's a very important bridge. It's been said that a bridge has no allegiance to either side and that they're a monument to progress. For me, the pride in seeing it completed is both professional and personal. I admire the engineering and construction innovation. And at the same time, I know how much it benefits both residents and travelers. Collaborating with friends in the Stanislaus County Department of Public Works, SSJID, 6 utility companies, Caltrans, and many others, our department will be completing this $32 million project. The project included federal, state, and local funds, including contributions from Stanislaus County. So I'd like to talk about what the project is, and as I go through this presentation, I'm going to be playing some visualizations and video that we took with our very own drone fleet. So I'd like to think of this project in terms of three main components: the Stanislaus River Bridge, the SSJID Canal Bridge at Myers Avenue and the intersection of River Road and McHenry Avenue. With this project, the bridge was widened from 2 to 5 lanes. It includes turn lanes, and bike and pedestrian facilities. The existing 4-way stop intersection is being converted to a signalized intersection with safety lighting. There are improvements to River Road both east and west of the intersection, and I'm going to speak more on that critical component in a moment. In fact, the remaining work at that location and its impacts are the main reason I wanted to speak to you tonight. Lastly, the bridge over the SSJID Canal was replaced with widening of the roadway. That bridge at Myers Avenue is just north of the intersection. It goes without saying that with replacement of these bridge structures, the project addressed all structural deficiencies and ensures compliance with current seismic requirements. So next topic is where are we on this project? So I'd like to talk about the progress of the construction and some of the hurdles we overcame during the past 2 years. Construction began in 2017. Like I said, before construction began, we anticipated significant traffic issues at the four-way stop during construction. The intersection was always planned to be signalized, but that comes at the end of the project. So one of our team's many innovations on this project was to convert the existing four-way stop to a temporary roundabout, actually a bean-about, as it resembled the shape of a kidney bean. This facilitated much better flow for the nearly 13,000 vehicles per day that use this corridor. At first, there were some skeptics, but when they saw how much more quickly they could get through the intersection, they became converts. And perhaps the greatest aspect of this temporary bean-about was its flexibility. You'll notice in the videos that it changes shapes as necessitated by construction. We were able to transform it from a bean shape into a circular shape as the project progressed. Demolition of the bridge was made possible by constructing a pile-supported shield directly underneath the existing bridge. This allowed demolition to proceed without endangering fish or blocking river traffic. High river flows resulting from unusually large rainfall and snowpacks in 2017 and 2019 were also a challenge, which caused some delays. So while debris flows were a constant concern down below, up top the crews were busy pouring concrete on the large bridge decks, as you can see in the video. The SSJID bridge replacement was scheduled to take place over 2 seasons. Our team, under David's guidance, worked closely with SSJID to get it done in 1 season. This effectively moved up the completion of the project from 2020 to 2019. And another noteworthy aspect of this project was outreach. We knew from the beginning that there would be impacts to many people. The county took a proactive approach through community meetings and early notifications to over 3,000 property owners. We created a project website which contained photos and videos of the construction, up-to-date traffic information, as well as some fun informational videos. The website, improvemchenry.com, provides email updates, a text message service for traffic updates, and a project hotline. As you can imagine, social media is now a common tool for getting the word out, and our team created and frequently updated both Facebook and Instagram project websites. So, project conclusion. Here we are about a month from completion, give or take. The one major remaining construction effort is to replace our award-winning and beloved roundabout and convert it to a fully signalized intersection. So while we've made every effort to minimize the duration of this conversion, the fact remains that drivers will experience significant delays while the signal is being installed, maybe as much as 30 minutes to clear the intersection. We estimate that this will take between 2 and 3 weeks, beginning the week after next, basically the second week of October. During that time, the road will remain open. However, we are unable to go directly from a temporary roundabout to a signalized intersection. So it's got to revert to a four-way stop. There will be traffic disruption. Through our outreach consultant, AIM Consulting, we are doing a media blast to try and warn drivers to stay out of the area for a couple of weeks. We consider it our own valley version of Carmageddon. I can hear it now, though, the cry of bring back the roundabout. Where's our roundabout? Bring it back, which as a civil engineer, that's music to my ears. So the intersection was always designed to be signalized and accommodate both current traffic and future projected traffic. A permanent roundabout would have been very challenging to fit in this area confined by the bridge there on the south and the SSJID canal on the northwest. Not to worry, though, once in place and operational, the intersection will perform safely and efficiently. And this is where we can use your help. It's to pass the word to your constituents. If they can, try to take an alternate route for a couple of weeks, but then come back and see what your tax dollars at work can do and what your public works departments can deliver for them. I'd also like to mention that we are making or have made similar presentations to the city councils of Modesto, Ripon, Escalon. We've made this presentation to both Stanislaus County and San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors. With the minimal work remaining after October, there will be a ribbon cutting ceremony scheduled to celebrate the successful completion of this project, and we'll make sure that you all get invited. That concludes the presentation, and David and I are available for any questions.
Any questions from the public? We understand fully that this is needed for an egress in the event of a 99.5 closure. So this is long overdue.
I agree. I think this project began in the planning stages almost 20 years ago. Right, David?
Right after the earthquake in '89, when it was so hard to get anywhere, they realized that they needed an alternate route. And in today's terrorists, they could knock bridges out 99 and 5 and stop commerce quite easily. And this would be the first bridge after 99.
Right, and they were well aware there's only 3 crossings. You got 99, this bridge, and of course your own here on Santa Fe. Alternate routes aren't very good after those 3 to get across the river.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and thank you for the time,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 2, public comment. At this time, members of the public may comment on items not appearing on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council LRA Board. Individual comments will be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes per person, and each person will be able to speak once during this time. Time cannot be yielded to another person. Under state laws, matters presented during public comment period cannot be discussed or acted upon. For the record purposes, state your name and city of residence. Please make your comments directly to the City Council LRA Board. Is there any public comment? That was a comment? Do you have a comment?
My chair shut off at the wrong time. Went to sleep. Russell Fowler, Office of Assemblymember Heath Flora. Good to be back with you. Sorry I missed the first month's meeting. I was recovering from a cold that's been going around. So, but just wanted to come and give you a legislative update on the 3 bills that we have on the governor's desk waiting his signature. AB 550, which is a veterans in-home medical care pilot program. This will allow veterans to receive in-home care from their family members or different contractors. This might make it a little bit easier and a little bit more comforting for them rather than having to be institutionalized. So we're very excited about that. We also have AB 732, which deals with the Manteca RDA issues centered around homelessness. A homeless nonprofit in Manteca wants to buy a state building for $1 so they can house homeless people there and offer homeless services. So our office drew up legislation trying to make that happen. So we'll see if we get a signature on that. And the last one is AB 678, which deals with expanding podiatry services that are covered under Medi-Cal for diabetic patients. So they'll be able to get covered when they have to have their toenails cut and things like that. So those are the 3 pieces of legislation that survived, and I'll keep you up to date if the governor signs those and if they're into law. So are there any comments or questions for me?
Does he need any letters of support?
I will go back to the office and ask that question. Any support we can get is wonderful. I have the letters on my computer, so I can send them over if it's something that you guys reach a consensus on. So,
Appreciate that.
no problem. Happy to be here, and I'm going to head out to my next meeting, but it's always good to see you guys.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Seeing none, we move on to the consent calendar consisting of item 3A, waive readings, item 3B, approval of September 5th, 2019 special city council minutes, item 3C, consideration of resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement for an electronic sign located at 2809 Patterson Road, APN 075-009-07047. I would like to pull item 3C. Anyone else want to pull an item? Can we have a motion on the first 2?
I make a motion that we approve the consent calendar of items 3.A and 3.B.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to approve consent calendars 3A and 3B.
Council Authority Member District 1 Uribe.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 2 Fossey.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 3 Campbell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chair Barbara Martinez.
Yes.
Mayor Chair O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
For item 3C, could you explain a little further on your negotiations?
Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. As council's aware, over the past number of months, we've worked with Rogers Media to identify some different site locations. This came from it's been a long road, a discussion about an electronic sign, and then the discussion about where we would put one, and then a discussion about how it would be cited and under what arrangement we would do it, whether it be a city-funded sign, and then there was the question of how we maintain and operate it. And so we came to Rogers Media with an opportunity to lease property and get all the benefits of an electronic sign without actually having to maintain or own it. And also possibly an opportunity for the city to generate some revenue for its recreation department. So council identified initially a property adjacent to the Del Rio. That was then rediscussed, and council then directed that I negotiate a location at 2809 Patterson Road, which is adjacent to the waterfall, which we have. The agreement is in your packet. But here are a couple of the key terms. It's a 25-year term with mutual options for extensions thereafter if desired by both parties. The sign height and size is about 8 by 16 is the face of the sign, and the sign has been generally designed to have the parapets go over where the waterfall, the top of the waterfall is. So what you'll see in your packet is that it generally sort of avoids any line of sight issues with the businesses behind it. We'll talk about permitting in a second. Base rent payment from the sign company would be $15,000 per year. In addition, the city will be paid an overage based on the performance of the sign, whichever is greater, at 20%. In talking with Rogers Media, they estimate that first couple years we're looking to probably collect between $20,000 and $30,000 based on their ad revenue, and they're very bullish on this sign. They think it's going to sell well, and that in future years we may collect even more revenue. The city will receive the ability to use a 1/8 advertising space on the sign, so essentially every 8 slides, 1 out of every 8 slides, we can use this for a municipal purpose, civic purposes, local events, nonprofits, promote areas of the community like the downtown. And then one of the key parts that we negotiated just this last week was to allow the city at our discretion to sell our 1/8 slide for local business advertising. In your packets, the contract notes does not specify businesses within Riverbank. I think the word that's used is local. The sign company has requested that we change that language just a little bit to identify that it be local Riverbank businesses, which from a staff perspective we agree with, because if there were going to be businesses we allowed to lease our area of the sign, we would want them to be local, I imagine. So no problem there. Maintenance is the responsibility of the lessee, Rogers Media. We will have no maintenance responsibilities whatsoever. They will also assist us in posting onto the sign, so they have a program that does that, and there are provisions that allow us to contact them and have them make updates. Their permitting provisions are the responsibility of the applicant, so they'll have building permits and planning permits and Caltrans permits that they'll have to process, and there's time limits in the contract for that. And the lessee agrees not to advertise any content on the sign which is unlawful or judged to be obscene or distasteful as determined by local community standards. So we like this language because it allows the council to develop a policy based on what they believe is a reasonable things to have, what they believe would not be reasonable things to have advertised based on our local standards. Based on the city attorney's office has reviewed the document, and they have they've also advised that we move forward with additional specific zoning and permitting guidelines, so the process for approving electronic signs that may have privatized advertising are clear for both public municipal signs such as this and signs on private property. So there's a provision in the contract that allows for a code change that Donna and I are going to start working on that may require some permitting. We were thinking maybe a conditional use permit of some kind, so that there's a process that people go through. Because remember, in the beginning, we had basically kept the standards very generalized so that we had the maximum flexibility. So we're really pleased with the agreement. We think it'll give the city a very nice sign at no cost for 25 years and the potential to raise funds for recreation or any other department that you allocate those monies to. So our recommendation is approval at this time.
Thank you. Any questions of the city manager? Okay, I move that we approve item 3C.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve in a second.
Council Authority Member District 1 Uribe.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 2 Fossey.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 3 Campbell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chair Barbara Martinez.
Yes.
Mayor Chair O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item 4.1, consideration to table the second reading and adoption of a proposed ordinance to add a new Chapter 126 sidewalk vending to Title 11 Business Regulation of the Riverbank Municipal Code of Ordinances.
Donna, you want to come up, and Donna Kenny, our planning and building manager, just explain, there were a number of requested changes in the last first reading, and if you could step through those, Donna, just so we're aware of what's going to be changed, but it was substantive enough that we can't do it between a first and a second reading. We need to redo a first reading with those edits, essentially.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So just as a really brief refresher, this ordinance came about in response to the state adopting laws that would allow sidewalk vending on public property and in our parks. The only way the city could regulate that is if we do pass an ordinance. So we brought you the first reading and then discovered that there were other things that probably should have been in there. For example, something addressing noise. So if you have several vendors on the block, they can't each be blasting different types of music. This would, limit that so people can actually think when they're out there shopping and talking to folks. The second provision came about due to a meeting I had with the County Health Department, looking at our zoning ordinance and our general plan as far as prohibitions for smoking goes. And so the women that I met with had recently been to a sidewalk event where there were vendors, and the city involved had not thought to put smoking restrictions on the vendors. And there were quite a few complaints by people purchasing items as well as other vendors that did not smoke, that quite a few of those vendors were smoking, and it was really kind of causing a negative scene. The third item is our city clerk realized that the appeals section was different than the appeals section for the fireworks ordinance. And so in order to make the two consistent, so the city always follows the same process, that section is being modified. So we should have a first reading document again for you, probably at the next city council meeting, or as the public noticing allows. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? This is agendized. I'm opening it up to the public. Seeing no public comment, I bring this back for consideration.
I make a motion that we table item 4.1.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to table item 4.1 and a second.
Council Authority Member District 1 Uribe.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 2 Fossey.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 3 Campbell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chair Barbara Martinez.
Yes.
Mayor Chair O'Brien.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Item 5.1, consideration to table the public hearing to a future date for the adoption of a resolution to place a utility lien on real property for delinquent wastewater charges.
Thank you, Mayor. The city's attorney's office has requested the council table this item until it can be presented at October 22nd, 2019. This is related to noticing timelines that we want to make sure are done correctly and appropriately. The materials are being processed and formulated and will be complete by the October 22nd meeting.
Okay. Any comments? This is a public hearing. Any comment on item 5.1? No public comments. I close public comment. Bring it back for consideration.
I make a motion, we table item 5.1.
Second?
We have a motion to table 5.1 and a second.
Council Authority Member District 1 Uribe.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 2 Fossey.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 3 Campbell.
Yes.
Vice Chair Darlene Barber Martinez.
Yes.
And Chair O'Brien.
Yes. Item 6.1, Mobile Food Vendor Pilot Program Update and consideration of resolution extending a mobile food vendor pilot program within the city of Riverbank for a period to be determined in months.
Thank you, Mayor. And Donna's going to give you an update on how the program has gone and our request to the council consider extending it.
Good evening again. So as you know, last January, you approved a 6-month pilot program for food vendors, and that program was actually 2 parts. One part was temporary use permits, which would allow a vendor to park adjacent to a city park, and that was a temporary use permit. And the second one was an AUP, which was administrative use permit for the food vendor to be able to locate on private property. So with the mobile vendors, it was a 6-month trial period. We were only going to allow 1 vehicle per park. We had 1 application for this, and it was a shaved ice business at Silva Park. She was the first business owner to come in and got her permit on April 1st, and that started the 6 months of the trial period. So technically, the trial period is over October 1st, but this is the last council meeting before that date. In order to to have a temporary use permit, you either needed to be close to a restroom, or if there was no restroom at that park, you had to leave for 3 hours and then possibly come back, or another vendor could come back in that location. Had to have a trash can for pickup. There could be no structures allowed, like tables, chairs. Only food could be sold. We did not allow any vendors at the sports complex or Castleberg Park due to snack bar fundraising, and no vendors were allowed at Rotary Park or Jacob Myers because of possible traffic and circulation issues. And then all vendors and locations were to be approved by myself and the Director of Parks and Recreation. As I mentioned, administrative use permits were for vehicles to park on private property, and the existing business on site was not to be a food-related business like a restaurant, so as to have competition. We did have 1 application that came in and was processed and started working, I believe, last month. And this one, like I said, is on private property, and it's a little bit different because the gentleman who owns the truck also owns the business. So he is able to control access to the restroom and keep hours, even with the store that he's associated with. But also with both these types of permits, no one was allowed to sell or to vend food between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. So it had to be commercial and industrial zone private properties. We did have a few people come in and want to do them in their front yard, which we frowned upon. They were prohibited from residential zone properties. If there was a restaurant in the parking lot or had a parking lot, we did not allow any trucks there. Let's see, and I mentioned the restrooms. The AUPs could have tables, chairs, shade structures, had to be well-maintained, had to be approved by planning. They had to keep their trash up, and actually littering and trash would be one of the grounds they would be able to have their license pulled for this. We did allow people who had an AUP to also apply for TUP if they wanted to serve on private property during the day and then go down to the farmer's market or any other event that we had for a special one-day permit. They were allowed to do that. So at this point, I come back to you to give you my report and to ask you about options. One of the issues that we had with the 6-month trial program is it is expensive to purchase a truck and to go through the process with county health. So there were several people who did purchase a truck thinking, well, if they didn't get into the 6-month program, maybe they could, provide services at Parks and Rec events or flea markets, that maybe it's something they would take into their retirement. But they were sorely disappointed they weren't able to make it through county health in time to at least try this pilot program. There were people who came in a little late, like today, wanting to submit an application because they finally heard through word of mouth that we were allowing them to happen through a pilot program. So there have been people who wanted to get into the program, and I did not take their applications or fees because we're so late in this 6-month program. So I guess I'm asking if you would like to extend this program another 6 months. We have not had any complaints from neighbors or the Parks Department about litter or trash, and there are more people interested in trying this out. Or if you think it's a good program and you'd like to maybe extend it for a little bit and have staff come forward with an ordinance amendment to make it a permanent program. Or if you think maybe there's just not enough interest and you would like the program to go away, that's an option as well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And I believe there are several food truck vendors here who may want to get up and speak after the public comment section is opened.
I have just one question. Is it possible to have the TUP at Castleberg Park when the snack bar is not open?
Well, that would be up to the public, the Parks and Rec director, who within that pilot program has control over the parks. I personally don't see an issue with it, but I would consult with her first.
I don't have a question, but I'm just glad to see that we have this type of ordinance, or but I think that we need to continue it for another 6 months because we don't have the experience with several different options, several different vendors, and so we don't know what issues may come up. And if we make it permanent, like right now, it's going to take I think longer to try to make those changes if we need it, if something comes up. So I'd like to see us extend it for another 6 months because of that. But I'm glad to see that we have that. And I think like you said, there are some people in the audience. I'd like to hear from them too, if they have anything to say when we get to public comment. Thanks.
I'm more of the mind of going forward and making it a permanent program right now. You have to make it temporary while you're writing your ordinance to make it permanent. And during that time, we can evaluate whether or not there are changes that need be. But extending it for what you have option 1 for 12 months while you bring forward the ordinance for a permanent program, which can be interrupted during that 12-month period and become permanent. These are legitimate businesses that perform well in a lot of other locales without any incident or very few issues. And I think we can get our lessons learned during the option 1, which was a 12-month period, and then come up with a permanent solution. That's what I would like to lean towards.
Okay.
I'd agree with that. I'd like to see I'm leaning towards the permanent program as well, too.
I also agree with the leaning toward the permanent program.
If I might ask, are there any parts of these programs, the AUP or the TUP, you would like to see added to or brought back? For example, I have had a couple of people interested in doing a food truck, but the locations that they found did not have an existing business on a piece of property. It was a vacant piece of property. So there would be no restroom facilities and it would be a shorter time period, but there are other parts of the pilot program that could be added to or removed if you felt strongly about something.
Is there something we could change on the ordinance that says either a restroom on site or within walking distance or so many feet? Would those be applicable in those situations?
I believe now the pilot program talks about 200 feet from a restroom. So for example, if you were with a TUP at a park and you were close to a restroom, you could be open your full set of hours unless the park closed for some reason. But if you were at a park that didn't have a restroom, you could only stay 3 hours. Then you would have to leave for a restroom and cleaning up facilities, but could come back.
So you would need to change the restroom on the other type, because it doesn't have that, right?
Right, the AUP, since there's an existing business, you would have access to their restroom and their trash enclosure.
But you could change or add a line, right?
Yes, so, excuse me. So the way it works in some other communities is, others that I've worked in at least, if you were going to allow people, let's say on vacant but improved pieces of property, that would probably be our recommendation. You really don't want these on dirt lots if you can avoid it. That if they're within, like Donna said, a 200-foot radius of a bathroom, so what sometimes you'll see is another business will work a deal out with a truck that says, hey, we'll provide you access to our bathrooms through whatever the arrangement is. We get some sort of proof of that, and then they're technically compliant, because if people need to use the bathroom, they can direct them to a local restroom.
Maybe only be open 3 hours
Yeah.
if there's no bathroom
Yeah.
access, and being open 3 hours is certainly better than none.
Yeah.
And if they've gone out and bought this truck, they're going to want to obviously put it somewhere. And maybe they could find a location later, but at least start with this.
True.
But you have no improved facilities, so people aren't going to be sitting down eating in some of those. They're not going to allow, in certain areas, no picnic tables, no shelters. On the AUP, I don't believe,
The
right?
AUP is on private property and you can have
Okay, you
the
can.
street furniture.
Okay, so
It's the one at the
TUP.
park, so people could buy the food at the park perimeter truck and then take it into the park or sit on a blanket on the grass and eat it.
Okay, I'm lost for why we really have a restriction of time period with or without a restroom.
So that the employee of the business owner has access to a restroom and hand washing facility, just to maintain the health of the truck and the people that work in it.
And I think that ends up being more of a health department requirement anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions before I open it up? Okay. Open this up for public comment. Please come on up. There is no raising hand and. Me too.
Like I was in a classroom. Mayor, members of the city of Riverbank, my name is Flavio Rios. I represent Cal Central. We manufacture mobile food units for the last almost 25 years, and we're happy to know that the city is having these conversations. Every week we get people with the dream to owning their business. And for us to manufacture a unit, the fastest we can do it can be 6 weeks, and it can take up to 3 months for us to have a compliant unit that requires the Code of California and also the Health Department. So we're happy to see that you guys, the members are open to take this. We have some of our possible clients that their dream is to have their their mobile food units, and we wanted just to extend that 6 months, but I'm happy to see that you're open to extend it, and 6 months is a short period for them even to get the permits from the health department, and also as manufacturers to get a unit ready for them. Thank you. That's my comment.
Hello, Council. Well, I'm going to introduce myself, and maybe you guys already know me, so. My name is Filemon Bañuelos Jr. My dad over there is senior. And we have the food truck right here on Patterson Road. And we have Esperanza's Rentals. From my side, I'm born and raised on the same street, same house, same everything on Patterson Road. Been there since I basically was born. Seen the city grow up, and I grew up with it. Well, thank you for the pilot program, first of all. And me and my dad had always talked about owning a food business. And that was a dream for me and him. And it happened thanks to you guys. You guys basically did what no other board had ever done here in Riverbank. And we had looked around a lot. And whenever this popped up, actually we got excited. Like they said, like she said, it gets very expensive and everything to make it come through. Since I live on the same block and on the same street, I didn't want something ugly, so I was trying to make it look pretty. I was trying to make it look cool, but everybody kept on saying it looked cute. So that was kind of weird. But I wanted it cool. It didn't come out like that. It looks pretty. That's what that's what girls kept on saying. And anyways, well, we paid $54,000 for the truck. If you guys want some insight, 2 months was a build time, and 3 months to get through the county. And yes, he is right. The health department does ask you about the bathrooms and all that. Besides that, I just need to thank you guys. We ran every 1 month, and honestly, with the smiles that I got from my dad and the smiles that I got from the community, that was enough for me, and I loved it. And if you guys choose to go with it, I really appreciate it. And if not, it's okay, because honestly, those smiles were way worth it. And thank you very much.
Before you go, I want to ask a quick question.
Yes.
How does the changes to the laws on sidewalk vendors, how is that going to affect you? You're going to be restricted from doing that, but they're going to be basically being able to vend food on the sidewalks.
So they're going to be right there? I'm kind of lost.
So are we, but the state says that we have to do it.
Honestly, the guy, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but the guy that sells ice and stuff like that on the street, I actually told him to stop by. Actually, I traded some tacos for some ice the other day, so I don't know if that's cool or not, but I might as well.
Okay, I'll ask the attorney how that's going to be later on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further comments?
My name is Michelle. I'm a resident here in Riverbank for 11 years now. My parents own a taco truck as well. It's Casa Cuevas. We've had a taco truck for, I want to say 9 years now also. And I actually was up here years ago, I think in 2011, 12, wanting to bring mobile trucks into the community. And so when I actually heard about it, I talked to Donna and I asked her, I was like, what's going on? But when I heard it was a 6 months only, to us, it wasn't going to be very beneficial just because of the permits and it wasn't going to be enough time for us. And then if it wasn't going to pass, then we were going to lose our spot where we're at now. Sorry, I'm so nervous. But us being owning a truck for almost 11 years, we have noticed the changes that there is in like the health regulations and all that stuff. And so I feel like I just want to thank you guys for even opening up this opportunity, because we live here in Riverbank and we love the community here and we love just living here. And I think it would just be an amazing opportunity just to bring more food out here, tacos. That's my only comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have somebody, sir, we already have somebody coming up.
Hello, my name is Juan Galvin. I'm a Oakdale citizen. I got a lot of friends in Riverbank, and I too decided to get into this this trade of owning a catering truck. I purchased it about 3 months prior to the pilot program starting, and it was about the time that they were putting something like that together, and I was in touch with Donna on the whole subject, and it took me a little longer than the 6 months. Obviously, I'm still running into a little bit of issues as far as building it up so that I can pass the required inspections through the county and whatnot. So they do make it a little difficult, and I'm pretty close to getting, so I would also ask that it would be a good idea to extend the program so that we get an opportunity to, provide more for the city and give it a shot and see what happens with it. I mean, I think it's something that would work out. And as far as vendors on the streets, I don't think it would be a problem for anybody. I think the food industry is big, and there's a lot of people, hungry people out there. So I think it would work for everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, City Councils. My name is Joaquin Rodriguez. I'm from Bay Area, San Pablo, and I have family here. And when I heard this program, we start talking and to see if we can start a new business in here in the city. And we started looking for a space. So I found a property very close from here. I think it's in the corner of Archinson and 108. And the property was for sale, so I thought that I'm gonna buy the property to see if we can have the opportunity to start a business in here. And then later I find out that if it's not another business operating at the time and there, you cannot start a business like a taco truck in there. So now at this moment I have the property, and my concern is that there is no other business. There is a small building over there. We were thinking and fix the bathrooms over there and use that building for like storage. And I don't know at this moment if this is something that you guys can have in consideration and see if we can use the property like for something like this, or like a taco truck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I bring it back for consideration, discussion, and recommendations. In the sidewalk laws, the governor wants us to encourage entrepreneurship by, very minimal amount of restrictions towards sidewalk vending, and that they allowed to have a 4-foot by 8-foot section. That's considerable when your sidewalks are 5 feet wide. So, and you can't restrict that. We have to allow it, but we have to permit it. So, in the spirit of entrepreneurship, I believe that we should also take a closer look at the catering trucks and see how we can encourage those type of entrepreneurial stewards to expand, and in an orderly fashion, of course, because if we extend it for 6 months, some people will take 3 months to get their health inspection approved by the county. That means they only have 3 months for the trial. I would prefer looking at your option 2 as we, option 1, as you are moving forward with a permanent solution. And we'll know more once we know about the sidewalk vending coming on up. That's so.
Mayor, if you wanted, you could extend the pilot program to line up with however long it takes us to bring back a permanent ordinance. So in other words, let's say it's with noticing and everything, it's 3 months.
I agree with the Vice Mayor. We still need to get some direction. So I would say you extend it for the 12 months.
Okay.
And then once we feel comfortable, we'll have you bring forth the resolution. Is that okay?
I agree with that. I am very happy to see that we are even talking about this, because I remember when you were here, I think it was 2013, and I told you, don't give up, keep coming back, and keep bringing it back. Because I had faith in our council that we would eventually get there. So I'm just glad that we're at that point and we're having this discussion. So I thank you for coming back.
We have a lot of people from Riverbank and Oakdale going all the way to Empire for tacos. So we're like, we're gonna try to be in Riverbank. Sorry.
All right. Okay. So, anybody wants to make a motion?
I make a motion that we pick option 1, with it moving towards completion of option 2.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve option 1 while moving forward to completion of option 2. Is that good enough there, Maricela?
Yes. Council Authority Member District 1, Uribe.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 2, Fossey.
Yes.
Council Authority Member District 3, Campbell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chair Barbara Martinez.
Yes.
Mayor Chair O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank all of you. Okay, 7-1 staff comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Two comments. One is I had a visit today from unfortunately, from the widow of the gentleman who lost his life with Jilton while he was en route here in Riverbank. And so I'm working with her on, she was interested in attending a future council meeting, and so we'll be working on some sort of recognition for him at a meeting in October. And the other item I just wanted to update, I'm going to toss it to Maricela for more of the detail. We have made significant progress, as you know, on monthly utility billing, usage-based utility billing. If you check your bills, you'll notice that usage is now being represented on each bill and will continue to be. And Maricela was going to give a quick little update on 2 components. We're ready to go live in the winter, as we had discussed, but the 2 components that I thought were really interesting are a calculator feature we're working on and Aquahawk trial period.
So we are excited that we've been able to progress so much on this project. So many thanks to our accounting manager, Anna Nicholas, and to our utility billing clerk, Garrick Figueroa, who have been working tirelessly on making sure that the data that we're receiving from the water meter system is as accurate as possible. And so this is leading to us preparing for consumption billing to resume. And so with about 150 accounts that we still have to review, we believe that all of the other accounts are working successfully. The 2 items that we'll be looking to roll out within the next couple of months, along with a lot of promotional some items that we want to put in the utility bill, as well as maybe a direct mailer to all of the residences here in Riverbank that will explain the fact that consumption billing is coming, how they can calculate their bill. Our utility billing clerk, Garrick, has come up with a simple calculator that we're hoping to be able to post online, which will allow residents to log on, take the bill that they currently have, look at the consumption that's being noted on there, being able to plug that in, and that would give them an estimate of what their bill would look like if consumption billing were in place. The second item that we have made a lot of progress on is Aquahawk. Aquahawk will be the customer side of our water meter system. This will allow all of our customers to register for an account, be able to look at their consumption on a daily basis. It will allow residents to set up alerts if they go over a certain usage amount. It will also have a built-in estimator for the amount of water that they've used to date with regards to how much their billing would be as well. And so what we're hoping to do is roll out a test group, which will include a couple of our city employees who are Riverbank residents, as well as our city council, so that you have an opportunity to play around with it, for us to be able to fine tune how it works, and then be able to roll that out to all of the members of the public.
Could you make that a YouTube type,
So yes, we are hoping to do a YouTube video, which will be a tutorial not only on how to read your bill, but also how to sign up and use Aquahawk. We're also looking to hold town hall meetings where we will let residents be able to view the product itself.
Would you like to be the actor in the YouTube video? We could talk about that later. On October 1st, Planning Commission. On October 1st, the Planning Commission will have a special city council or a special Planning Commission meeting for Crossroads West residential maps and development agreements. This is the last component of the Crossroads project, and would be this setting the stage for building to occur residentially now that commercial's already been approved. So please come out to that meeting if you're interested.
Thank you. All right, Council Member Uribe?
The only thing I have is just another reminder, the Stanislaus Homeless Alliance Learning Retreat is Friday, October 4th. Location is the Salida Library from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and it is open to the public. Hope to see you guys there.
Thank you, Councilmember Flossie.
If you're on Facebook, you've seen some of the postings about our new program where we're going to offer out to high school students to paint our electrical boxes, utility boxes. I'm so excited that this program is starting out. Anybody who paints, does art, please watch for the applications to come out so we can get started on painting them and approving them and then painting them. It's a great project. I'm excited for it. Thank you.
Councilmember Campbell?
You probably are aware that 9 counties had their electricity shut off for a while last night because of the winds. And I'd just like to point out that we are getting more severe winds in our county over the years that I've been here, and I've been here since 1962. In the last 5 years, I've had 2 tables blown over and broken in my backyard just because gust of winds have come across, and 1 umbrella blown all the way into the neighbor's yard and landed in the pool. And I'm just relating this to you because I want to encourage everyone to be prepared, have their emergency kits ready, because I can see in the future that we might possibly run into having our electricity shut down too.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
I attended the webinar for the bills that are out there and through the California League of Cities, and there's a lot of bills that still need our signatures. So if you're interested in what's going on, I gave some information to Sean. These are bills that the league feels that we should support or that we should, veto, but send letters of whichever way you'd like to go. October the 2nd is the National Walk and Bike to School Day, and I'm just asking that as you drive through school zones, near schools, please be aware that, there are students, so slow down. And then students, always be aware of your surroundings too, and watch out for cars and trucks as you walk back and forth to school. September 28th will be the opening of the Dutch Hollow Halloween farm and other activities. It's at the corners of Clarabelle and Oakdale Road. And at 9 o'clock a.m., they're going to have a dedication to Officer Singh as they have created a corn maze that has been designed in a likeness of him. The International Heritage Festival, October 5th, there'll be food, music, and dance, Kids World at MJC East. We do have our applications that are out now for the Riverbank Christmas Parade and Craft Fair, which is Saturday, November 30th. And our nicely done Riverbanks Parks and Recreation Activity Guide is out, and it's got a lot of good information in it. So thank you, Sue, for your department and what the fine job that they did. Thank you.
I just have two, thank you, Vice Mayor. I just have two short ones. One, I'd like to know the time schedule for the CalPERS committee.
We have meetings, we have to coordinate with employee groups, but late October is the date, and we'll get those to the you and Councilmember
Thank you.
Campbell. Yeah.
And for Churchill White, our municipal code updates.
I'd have to check back and with some of the partners to see where we are on that process.
I expected
Yeah,
a
like-
lawyer answer. All right, thank you. Item 8.1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9 Alpha, name of case Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District versus the City of Riverbank and DOES 1-20. Stanislaus County Superior Court Case Number CV 19004402. Item 8.2, conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8, property 062-031-005 through 007. Agency negotiator Sean Scully, City Manager, property negotiator Ametis Inc., under negotiation, price, term of payment, or both. Item 8.3, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code 54957.6, agency representative Sean Scully, City Manager, under unrepresented employees, Public Works Director, and Assistant City Manager, Director of Finance. With that, we'll move to closed session. The public has the right to speak on these closed session items prior to us going in. You have a maximum of 5 minutes. Is there anyone from the public wishing to discuss these? Seeing none, we adjourn to closed session. The regular city council and LRA board meetings for Tuesday, September 24th, 2019 are now in session. Report from closed session, item 9.1. Report from closed session on item 8.1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District versus City of Riverbank and DOES 1-20. Direction has been provided to staff. Item 9.2, report from closed session on item 8.2, conference with real property negotiations, Ametis Inc. Direction has been provided to staff. Item 9.3, report from closed session on item 8.3, conference with labor negotiators, unrepresented employees, Public Works Director and Assistant City Manager, Director of Finance. Again, direction has been provided to staff. The next city council meeting will be Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. This meeting is now adjourned.